Hello darlings, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Darlingville. I hope you guys are good. I hope you guys are well and have eased nicely into the new year. I certainly have, and I am doing good. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of February. I just thought let me quickly come through and check in on you guys, and also just to let you guys that I'm okay, and and just to catch up with you guys and give you a quick update of what's been happening in my life and where I've been, because it's been a few weeks since I uploaded a video. So yeah, if you are new here, new subscribers, you are more than welcome, and I hope you like it here. If you've come across our channel for the first time and you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Bonagele, and on this channel we're all about navigating life holistically with an emphasis on wellness, personal development, so that we could be best versions of ourselves, and it's also on emphasis on simple living. So yeah, if that tickles your fancy, I hope you will consider to subscribe. I think you could say that my year is only starting now. In the first week of the year, I was still on leave, and I spent the time here at home, decluttering, taking out things I was not using and giving away some of the things that I wanted to give away, and just fixing things that needed to be fixed. And yeah, just decluttering and resetting my house for the new year. On the 8th of January, I went back to work, but it was also the beginning of a 21-day corporate fast at church. So I started on a fast. But because I could not embark on a liquid fast, I opted to have other things that I'm fasting, if you can put it like that. I decided to be very scarce on social media. So yeah, I was still on Instagram a little bit, and I was posting shorts on YouTube just to keep the channel sort of active. But I was not recording any content for YouTube. I really wanted to participate in the fast and be, immerse myself in the process. So that's why I was scarce on the channel. We ended our fast on the 28th of January, and then from the 29th, I then thought, let me start plugging in and implementing some of the things that I wanted to start doing this year. But the things that I wanted to start doing early on in the year. One of those things being exercise. The second thing being actioning the things that I've been putting on hold. So today I just got back from work not too long ago. I thought I felt like it was a good day. I think I had the energy and the inspiration to come and talk to you guys. And one of the things that I promised to do and improve on this year was my consistency on YouTube. And one of the things also I thought I want to start doing more is to have sit downs. I thought about it late last year to say it's one of the things I've been saying, actually, that I'm going to have sit downs. And then it was also a suggestion from one of our community members to say maybe to consider, having sit downs and just talk about life experiences. I'm going to briefly talk about two things with you. On one of my previous videos, where I was just talking about my depression and anxiety journey, I promised you guys that I would come and maybe talk about some of the things that I went through and before I discovered that I was not okay. So what transpired, or what happened? It just started with me just be feeling exhausted all the time. I was just constantly tired, and did not feel, even no matter how much I would have rested over the weekend, I would still feel exhausted. And then it moved from this constant exhaustion to me wanting to, like, pulling myself away from people. I did not want to socialize. I actually remember that there was a period, it could have been about 6 months or so, where I was not even going to church. And so I was just not socializing, not keen to meet up with people. If you don't mind, I'm gonna have my grapefruit as I chat with you guys. And then it moved from not wanting to socialize to just constantly feeling sad. And I literally just wanted to hide myself under my blankets every weekend. There were days where it would be until 1 in the afternoon before I would get out of bed and open my curtains. And then it moved from the point where I was letting myself go. I was not really taking care of myself the way I like to take care of myself. Like I would stay for months without really doing my hair. And the reason my house was kept clean is because I have someone who comes and helps me with cleaning and ironing every second week. So that's the only reason why my house was sort of in order. But I had no desire nor energy to do anything. And then it went on to me becoming deeply sad and deeply angry. And I was just fighting, acting out of character. If you know me, I'm not a person who fights. I just don't believe in fighting. I believe in talking about issues, but I was just fighting because a lot of challenges were emanating from the work environment. I found myself in email wars, basically, where I was just constantly sending back and forth negative emails and things like that. And the negative or the deep sadness and anger increased, and at some point I started just crying for no apparent reasons. It started like happening on occasion, and then I started developing anxiety attacks, something that I had never ever experienced in my life. And the more they increased, the intense they became. And then the crying became a constant thing. I was just always in tears and things like that. So those are some of the signs or the phases I went through until the day I woke up and my mind was just blank. And that is when I actually went to seek help. And then as I told the story, I went and sought help. I was admitted, blah, 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 blah. But mainly, I just wanted to highlight some of the phases or the stages I went through before I could discover that I was in depression mode. And the reason I wanted to highlight those is that it's things that to look out for. And if one starts noticing some of those things in their lives, but so that they can start doing something about it early on and not leave it until it's too late like I did. So if there's anyone who's, for whatever reason, may be experiencing those kind of symptoms, I would encourage that to go and seek help. I'm just sharing my experiences. I'm in no way a health professional or whatever, but I'm just sharing my experiences to say, if you find yourself maybe experiencing some of 1, 2, or 3 more of the symptoms I'm talking about, seek help. It's better to seek help and find out that there's nothing, rather than to sit and do nothing about it, only to find out later that there's a problem. But then again, one of the things that I wanted to share, which is, the main reason I wanted to record this video today, was to talk about accountability, like as to whether we take accountability for the things that we contribute into situations. You know, it's always easy to point fingers at other people. So and so did this, so and so said this, da 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 da. But one of the things I've come to learn, I've always known this, but I think I've come to really think about it and become honest about it with myself, is to take accountability for my contribution into situations. In this instance, I'll talk about the situation that led me into depression. I've had to really sit and be honest with myself about how I was contributing into it. And I realized that I also contributed in the situation that eventually led to me not being okay. It's a very difficult thing to acknowledge your negative contributions into situations. Like I said, because it's easy to point fingers at other people, it's never easy to point fingers at ourselves. So yeah, I did realize some of my contributions and I take full accountability for it. It does not take away from the fact that there was a certain individual that was fueling this whole thing and that I was at loggerheads with for a while. And they definitely did contribute to the situation and towards me finding myself where I found myself. But I also contributed, because one of the things I acknowledge that I contributed towards is this. Number one, when somebody starts to disrespect you, if it happens for the first time, I've learned that you have to address it as it happens. But what I did, and what generally people tend to do, is to say, experience the disrespect and keep quiet. And sometimes we just avoid it and carry on with our lives. And then when you don't address it or don't deal with it as it happens, what message are you sending to the person that is disrespecting you? You are saying to them it's okay for them to disrespect you, and then chances are they're going to do it again, and then they do it again and again and again. When they are now maybe doing it for the 5th or the 6th time, only then you're like, but this person is disrespecting me. But it's not the first time they do it. When they did it for the first time, you didn't do anything about it. So that's what happened with me. I did not address the disrespect from the onset, from inception. And then I just ignored it and thought, I don't have time for this. I want to carry on with my life. I just want to do what I need to do, blah, 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 blah. And as time went on, I could not deal with it anymore. I started becoming upset and becoming angry. But this person was now comfortable with disrespecting me because I did not address it with them in the first place. So that was my contribution. I had to take action and say, excuse me, I don't appreciate this and this and this, but I didn't do that. And the challenge sometimes comes with, it's either when you're dealing with hierarchical situations where you're dealing with somebody either that is senior than you, somebody that is older than you in terms maybe in respect of personal relations, seniority maybe in respect of work relations, seniority in respect of family dynamics and things like that. So the challenge becomes there, that to say, okay, maybe this is somebody senior than me and you don't do anything about that, but they become comfortable in doing that and it becomes a problem. So that's the first thing I realized, and I acknowledged that I contributed to the situation by not addressing the disrespect when it started happening. Number 2, even when I now felt like the disrespect is perpetuating. I still did not do anything about it, but I started talking about it with other people and not addressing it with the person concerned. And then it sort of became a club of us talking about the things that a particular person was doing. So initially it started like it's a venting situation, but then we were growing the situation. How do I put it? We were making the situation become much bigger than what it was, and it could have been avoided by addressing the situation with the person concerned, even if it was after a certain period of time of them doing something that I did not appreciate. I still could have said, okay, it's been happening for this long and I can't deal with anymore. What is the problem? Can we address the situation? Instead, I just became angry and I just started becoming like the person as well. I started being disrespectful. I'm not a disrespectful person, just in general. But I felt like, okay, you're disrespecting me, I'm going to dish out what you are dishing to me, which was not helpful in any way. Another thing is, if I felt like I don't want maybe to engage with this person, I could have accepted that the situation is how it was and make a decision to say, let this person be that person by themselves. I'm not going to participate in their commotion. But instead, I went full on. I went full in. I participated. Basically, I became like they were. I did all the things that they were doing. Thinking I'm defending myself, thinking I'm protecting myself, and not realizing that I'm doing the very same things that this person is doing that I don't like. I've been in a space where I'm discovering that I also contributed into the situation, and I'm acknowledging that. It's very difficult to acknowledge your contributions, your negative contributions into things. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that, to say, you guys would know that every time I introduce a video, I always talk about that the emphasis is for personal development, so that we could become the best versions of ourselves. Self-development requires internal work. Self-development requires being truthful to oneself. Like, I had to be truthful to myself about my contribution, about my own toxic traits. Toxicity, toxic traits, people being toxic is a big thing that we talk about. And every time we talk about the subject of toxicity, it's about somebody else who is being toxic. But the reality is, we also have our toxic traits that we bring into situations, that we bring into circumstances. So I've had to acknowledge those things about myself. Believe you me, like I say, it's not an easy thing. It felt like I wanted to swallow my tongue. But I had to be honest with myself, because for me to be able to move forward, I have to acknowledge things that are not good that I bring, so that I can do something about it. But when I don't acknowledge those, then it means I'm never going to change. I'm just going to be repeating the same things. I'm going to find myself in the same cycle over and over and over again. So yeah, that's one of the things I just wanted to bring, to say, acknowledging one's bad or negative contribution into things is not easy, but it's one of the things that we need to think about. It's one of the things we need to acknowledge when we identify that it's in the mix. And it's freeing. It brings you so much freedom, because the minute, that's what I found, is that the minute I acknowledged it, to say, hey, but yeah, in that instance, I could have done this and this and that. In that instance, I could have done things differently by doing this and this and that. The minute I acknowledged that, the minute I admitted to that, I cannot even begin to tell you how much freedom it brought into me. And don't get me wrong, it does not take away from all the bad things that the other party brought in. But in this case, I don't have control over somebody else's doing, but I have control over my doing. Therefore, I need to focus on what I did. I need to focus on what I contributed. I've also have always known this, but I've truly now, it has sunk in my mind that there's nothing I can do about something that somebody else does. I have no control over that, but I have control over what I do. And for me, it's important to me to grow. It's important for me to become a better person. It's important for me to evolve. Therefore, like I said, those things require internal work. Internal work is not just good things only. It's not always just rosy things. Internal work is about tough things, tough questions that you ask yourself, tough decisions that you have to make, tough changes that you have to implement in your life. So yeah, it requires you to be truly honest with yourself, but it's what is within your control, because you can't control somebody else. And what I'm discovering is that once you acknowledge certain things about yourself and you make that change, it has a way of impacting another person positively. Even the other person the other party who may, be party into the mess. But when you decide to do things differently, when you decide to change, it does impact them too, some way. They may not acknowledge it, but it does. So yeah, I just wanted to come and talk about that, to say, sometimes we find ourselves in certain situations and all we ever do is to blame others or to focus things on other people. I think it would do us so much good if we learn the discipline of every now and again to pause and look at ourselves and look at our contributions and look at our own toxicity and make a change there, because that would be something within the parameters of what is within your control. And I think it will help us a great deal if we move with that attitude, because at the end of the day, we are not perfect. Nobody is. We also have bad things that we bring into the table sometimes. And not acknowledging that perpetuates the cycle. But the minute you pause and like, okay, what's going on here? What? And you are doing that for you. Sometimes even acknowledgement and admitting may not necessarily change the situation, but it will change you. And that is what matters the most, for you to change for the better. Because when you are better, really it makes life a little bit easier. It makes you move ahead with a little bit of ease. It lightens the heavy burden that you might have been carrying for some time. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, to say, think about it. And acknowledgement doesn't mean that you have to go to the other party and say, oh yeah, this and this and this. And if it means you have to do that so that things can be okay, it's fine. Like for example, in a partnership, if you have to say to your partner, you know what, I sat and I thought about it and I realized that I could have done things better here and here and here. And you know that by doing that, it might help change the situation and make it better. Fine, go ahead, do that. But this acknowledgement is acknowledging things to yourself first. If you have to acknowledge to another person, fine, go ahead and do that. But acknowledge it to you. Be truthful to yourself. I was talking to my colleague earlier today to say, if we can't be honest and truthful to ourselves, then what are we doing? Who are we fooling? And yeah, you can be truthful to yourself. and implement the changes yourself. And if you don't want to talk to another person about it, that's okay, but you are doing it for you and for yourself. So I don't know, I really hope you guys get where I'm trying to get at, and I really hope it's something that makes you think. And I really hope that if it hits a certain spot, you're going to spend time and think about it, and really don't harden your heart. Don't delay your growth and your progress in life by ignoring things maybe that your heart is telling you to say, but maybe just look at that. So yeah, tell me what you think about what I've just shared, and let's continue the conversation in the comments section. I hope you have a good week. Please do like the video so that other people can join in our conversations. We'll catch up on the next video. Mwah.